it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth into how a female psychopath will basically target and subdue and take over psychologically, really kind of a lexicon, a verbiage, a way of manipulating another individual. And they can manipulate male or females. I mean, it's, and if you've been in a relationship with them, an intimate relationship, then you are going to be in for more in depth of the psychological manipulation that is part of a female psychopath relationship. And before we get started, I just want to give a quick, huge shout out to those of you who have recently made a donation to the channel. Particularly, we have a lovely viewer in Thailand. I am so glad that we were able to reach all the way across the globe, all the way into Thailand, Turkey, Italy, the UK, France. We have viewers all over the world, Germany, Australia. And I am so glad that we're able to provide a YouTube village here where we can really reach out and discuss and really help those more in depth who are suffering some very traumatic, difficult, confusing, and really psychological torture sort of relationships. So huge shout out to the lovely viewers, especially in Thailand, who has recently made a donation to the channel. I want to thank you so much. It really does help keep me inspired to know that I'm helping you and reaching you and to keep the channel alive. So thank you so much for your recent donations. I truly appreciate it. We are going to zoom in and focus in a little bit more in depth on the female psychopath. I've received a number of correspondences. I received messages, I received emails, and comments relating to trying to understand the dynamics of a female psychopath and how they have broken them down, broken down their targets, how they have oppressed, how they have taken over almost as captives psychologically their targets, and really how to make sense of it and how to emerge, how to kind of identify if this has happened to you, and furthermore, how to really, move through it successfully and get beyond the trauma and get through the feeling of hypervigilance, or almost like you are in a state where you have to almost be like an investigator, trying to follow them, decipher their lexicon, decipher their sort of enigma of their communication. The psychopath will tend to overwhelm people through an extreme amount of uncertainty. And they will break people down, break their target down by really exhausting them and distracting them, breaking through one's original routine. Trying to be a distraction, getting one aroused, getting one confused, getting one in a real state of ambiguity, which really throws the person off. If you are in a chronic state of uncertainty, meaning you don't really know if the relationship is going to be okay, if you're going to be able to understand this person, if you're able to trust this person, if you're able to be safe with this person. In other words, they get you kind of dangling on a precipice. There's a certain way that they will communicate. There's a sort of innocence about them, but there's also a real criminal sort of slithery mental sort of mental incongruence, if you will, where they seem to be very innocent, yet there's a slithery part to them which you don't quite trust. In other words, they're very adept at transcending people's boundaries or making them violate their own boundaries to the point where you are then not trusting of yourself. And then, you feel like it's in the name of love, so there's this innocence coupled with a feeling of terror or a risk. And a feeling of maybe there's a dark energy or an excitement. A lot of people will interpret this as, very, very fantastic, very euphoric, very blissful. That here's this person that seems to inoculate them with this emotional manipulation, which is really, it's really causing you to repress your own values, and then adhere to them and follow their lexicon, their terminology, their cryptic communication styles, which is really used because the psychopath will use a different type of vocabulary. The way that they structure their words, they don't have the same emotional connection to words and really sort of relationships that most people do. So they are using words in a different sort of format that is designed to really kind of throw you off and create this subtle form of uncertainty and tension within you psychologically. So it's really kind of like what we call a cognitive dissonance, where they seem to have this innocence, this naivete, yet there's a trickery at the same time. There's a feeling like this person is too good to be true, or there's something about this person which I've never encountered a person like this before. So you have this sense of excitement, and yet wanting to stay attached and enamored and in love with this person who has kind of aroused you and stimulated you, yet there's this coupled with fear. So it creates this cocktail of ambiguity and uncertainty. And again, it is the psychopath who really will target through creating this tension. So it's a way of using their body language. It's a way of them positioning their body in a room, in a chair, near a table, near the outdoors. They will create this sort of a lot of people call it a dark energy, but what really is occurring is there's this magnetic attraction that seems to be emitting from them. And oftentimes this is really an energetic field which comes off of this individual, which really is a sense of their charm, but really it's arrived at through their energetic field, which is coming from them emotionally. And oftentimes this is a very high testosterone level, meaning, there's a high aggressive energy about them, which creates this complete devoid of empathy. So you feel here's this super charming, super powerful, super attractive individual that has this je ne sais quoi, something that you can't quite articulate about them, but yet you feel magnetically attracted. And a lot of people, again, in the name of love, they feel kind of entranced by this person. They feel that all of a sudden that they can relax. They become in a bliss-like state. It is because there's an energy coming off of these types of people. It is their excessive dopamine receptivity. They have a very high propensity to have in excess of dopamine, and that is kind of like their reward center, which creates this ability for them to not have a conscience and override certain morals, certain social norms that you sense about this person, and you become aware subconsciously that here's this person who is different, who is abnormal, yet you're interpreting it in a positive way. So a lot of this is coupled with asexual attraction. And then also coupled with this sort of high risk behavior, and I know it's very difficult to articulate. So it's like a very positive attraction coupled with a sense of there's something not right with this person. So it's kind of like the allure of the bad boy or allure of the good girl, bad girl, and you just don't know how to really process it. So people just become just full-on attracted, full-on charmed. Really, there's movies made about this, this unnatural or supernatural or paranormal charm to this person. And a lot of that does have to do with the energetic field that is emitted off of their body based on their psychology. So just as I've discussed in videos previously, just when you feel a sense of uncomfortability when you see somebody, who is criminal, you kind of feel it in their presence. Oftentimes the female psychopath will have this about them as well, where you feel very, very much like you cannot focus. You need to be drawn into this person. And that's because really there's a telepathy about their energy. And it is this total incongruence with there's an incongruity, a cognitive dissonance. So in other words, there's a disconnect between what they say and then what they do. So they might, trick you and subdue you in by having you feel sorry for them or feel compassion for them. Yet there's this manipulative quality where they're, constantly texting or constantly doing other things simultaneously. So there's a real incongruity between what they say and what they do. And so this creates this psychological tension, the chemical combination in your body, which is attracted yet repulsed. Like your vagus nerve, your gut is trying to tell you to stay away, yet you're attracted. And this is how the female psychopath originally sort of lures in and renders really helpless or powerless over the charm. And a lot of men will give in to this, feeling that, this is high level eroticism or attraction, or this could be, the woman of my dreams. Yet oftentimes it's coupled with an emotional manipulation and use of this charm that twists the meanings of things. So it can really create a lot of discord in your life. And really when they break you down time-wise and take a lot of your energy away. In other words, a lot of your energy is absorbed in the relationship or thinking about them, or you can't stop thinking about them. They create a compulsion and really an addiction to them. And so they're very well aware of this pre-calculated, premeditated communication style. So they know exactly what to say. They know exactly what to do to render you off base. So this instability that they create, this psychological tension, is based in that incongruity. It's based in that uncertainty. And then the uncertainty becomes so severe that it renders you really heavily focused on trying to resolve that tension, if this makes any sense. It's very difficult to articulate. So you have a compulsion to sort of release this tension. It can be very bound up. It can become very bound up in the body and very bound up in your behavior, and really kind of create a negative energy, or what people call an energy vacuum. And then kind of how am I going to articulate this? Kind of a betrayal against the self, where you then kind of shut down your own inner guiding system, your own intuition, in order to, you override that because the boundary violation, and you become so fixated on this female psychopath and sort of satisfying this tension that they have created, which is really kind of out of this world. It's really sort of otherworldly because the energy is so attractive, or it has a real energetic pull outside of your normal everyday reality. So you really have to cut it off. You have to have 100% no contact once you have determined that this woman is manipulative. It's, you're misinterpreting the positive. So the positive is really very oppressive of you. And so you need to break free of this energetic grasp of you and really go no contact. Any sort of, pursual that you feel, just start blocking the contact. Anything on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any of the notes, the texts, that are going to keep you energetically stuck to the psychologically tortuous sort of individual and their mindset. And it's not normal. It's not a natural relationship. This is an intra-species predator, as labeled by Dr. Robert Hare, which means there are certain types of people who possess a lack of conscience, which means they can be very, very much a leader. They can be very strong. They can be very accomplished. They can have certain intellect, but yet there's something about them that is extremely devoid of empathy, which means they lack morality, and they have an ability to really psychologically take people down. And it's beyond just being a bully. There's something about their energy, which is very much, people call it a energy vampire, a psychological vampire, something of that nature. And you can also see it in the if you look at the musculature around a female psychopath, they will have a smile that does not smile in the eyes. But so they might be smiling in the face, but there's no facial lines around. So it'll be like almost like they're a lack of expression. And so it'll be like this. So it's like they're smiling, but there's no expressiveness around the eyes. So, if somebody normally smiles, their eyes light up, they're thinking, they're engaging their heart. There's a disconnect because of the neural wiring of their mind and their brain. And so you'll see what we call the psychopathic gaze, which, feels very entrancing, and you don't know what it is. So a lot of people interpret it as a sexual connection or sexual warmth. But when you really look, you can see the psychopathic gaze, which is more of, there's no expression in this area. So if you see something like a smile here, but no smile here, I can't even do it, but I think when you see it, you'll know it, and it's really bone chilling. So if you have encountered this, these are just some tips and clues for you to not only determine if this person is overtaking you, but furthermore, just to really, get detached from them 100%, detached from their energy, and begin to rehabilitate yourself to your natural habitat, your natural way of thinking, your natural environment, and don't continue to pursue the goals that they have put for you in your life, or that attractionist. Just disconnect from it like a drug that is not healthy for you. Stop taking them in your life right away, so your body can begin to purge and cleanse through their unnatural and toxic influence. It's peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.